because it stands for Graphics Interchange Format. That doesn't make any sense, Skater, but okay. It's time to talk about the gun-wielding hippos. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where finally my issues with pronunciation are vindicated in lore. The Giff or Yiff or whatever you prefer got some special god powers to shoot guns better. I didn't expect Wizards of the Coast to make guns being a god-given right canon, but here we are. Before we get into the features, I must say I'm really happy with them changing the Giff after their iteration in UA. Giff historically are hippos that use guns. That's super cool if you ask me. But in the UA, they basically stripped that all away. But now it's back! Thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for being open with those changes. I'm so happy they added the Americans in this game now. Finally, I can play as an American man. Time to get into it. Giff are humanoid and medium. If large were a thing that PC races got, they would be large. But hey, we will have to do with this. Imagine having oversized guns. That sounds so fun. For their speed, they get 30-foot walking speed, but they also get a swimming speed equal to their walking speed. Ever seen a hippo run after you? No? I guess so, as you would probably not be watching this video if so. They're scary. Normally, your speed in water is half your walking speed, so this is pretty useful if you spend some time underwater in your campaigns. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games now for 11 years, and I've only swam like 4 times. Now for the first feature in making them better at guns. Or well, this works with any weapon. Astral Spark. Your psychic connection to the astral planes enable you to mystically access a spark of divine power, which you can channel through your weapons. When you hit a target with a simple or martial weapon, you can cause the target to take extra force damage equal to your proficiency bonus. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, but you can use it no more than once per turn. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. This is really similar to Fury of the Small from Goblins, but with some different restrictions. If you hit with an attack, you can basically do proficiency bonus amount of extra damage. That would start off with 4 extra damage in a day at level 1 and end up with 36 extra damage at level 17. Keep in mind, you can only use this feature once per turn. If we look at how much of a DPR increase that is overall, it doesn't look as impressive. If we have 4 rounds of combat and 8 encounters a day, it will be about a bonus of 1 DPR overall. If we have 4 combats a day, it will be about 2. And so on. You can do the math. Obviously, the ability to use this in the first round adds some extra power because of first turn Nova. But overall, I'm not too impressed. Next is Firearms Mastery. You have a mystical connection to firearms that traces back to the gods of the Giff, who delighted in such weapons. You have proficiency with all firearms and ignore the loading property of any firearms. In addition, attacking at long range with a firearm doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls. Before I get into this, I'll talk about firearms. They are an optional rule in the DMG, which may or may not be used in your game. And they're basically some alternatives to the otherwise mighty hand crossbow. Rules as written, when guns are in play, someone with proficiency in martial ranged weapons or martial weapons or all weapons would be proficient in them, as they are all martial ranged weapons. If you aren't proficient in those, you can pick up proficiency through DM fiats. I think maybe the intent with this was that proficiency in martial weapons is not enough, but I'm not sure. Anyways, Giffs get proficiencies in these bad boys. But if you are someone who wants to use ranged weapons a lot, you are probably a ranger or fighter, who would already be proficient from my understanding. Additionally, they ignore the loading property. For those who don't know, this is what it means. Loading, because of of the time required to load this weapon, you can fire only one piece of ammunition from it when you use an action, bonus action or reaction to fire it, regardless of the number of attacks you can normally make. But like I said, you ignore this. This is actually a benefit you get through Gunner as well, the feat that can also give you proficiency with firearms. Lastly, they get to attack without disadvantage at long range with firearms. This is a bit disappointing if you think about it, because this is a benefit that is also available through Sharpshooter, which is almost definitely the feat you go for at level 4 if you optimize and want to use ranged weapons. So you get to enjoy this bonus for only 3 levels, which always feels a bit bad in play. But Kobold, what about Gunk? Gunk, the gun monk. I'll link a video about that in the comments. This is definitely something I thought about when I looked at this race. I asked myself, is this what you go with if you want to play a Gunk? But in the end, I believe the answer is no, sadly. I think if you want to play a monk with a gun, you still pick custom lineage and pick gunner, because that way you can start at 18 dexterity with point buy. That is because gunner gives you +1 dexterity, and you can get +2 through your race. In tough adventuring days, that is just more damage than being stuck at +3 bonus for dexterity until later levels with Giff for a very long time. Last but not least, who am I kidding? This is definitely the least. Hippo build. You have advantage on strength-based ability checks and strength saving throws. In addition, you count as 1 size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weights you can push, drag, or lift. In combat, strength-based ability checks don't happen too often, except if you have a grappling build. I don't want to dissuade you from doing this, but I don't believe it is something worth pursuing compared to other comparable options of control. Out of combat, you have other options like working together for advantage or a portable ram. Strength saving throws are almost never a big deal, and I wouldn't worry too much about them if I were you. Lastly, I don't see carrying capacity as a huge deal, when you can buy a mule for 8 gold and probably have access to a bag of holding or similar things at some point. Anyways, end of video. This is not a very strong race, but I'm definitely a fan of the direction they took with these guys. A Giff Gunk sounds super duper fun. I hope I earned your subscription and support on Patreon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye!